All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I think AB Media, I saw that you were the first. I'm sorry, let me slow down. AB Media, I think I saw that you were the first one in here. Thank you for your comment, and I appreciate the support. Science-related topics, those are often, these often appeal to a certain demographic. They're not the sexiest topics, but they are important. And yeah, especially in my community, because we lag behind in the STEMs and participation in the STEMs. So, I, I try to present important things here. I'm a scientist myself for my 9 to 5, and I think there's a need to create content on it for my 5 to 9. So today we're going to go back to we're going to discuss a little bit of human health, particularly I centered it, shout out to Dr. Tiasan Johnson, I centered it on Black men's health because I saw something interesting when I looked up colorectal cancer, and it's time for me. Sometimes I'll share my own health journey with you all since I am a Black man. Well, some people have contested throughout my life whether I am a Black man or not based on the way I talk and comport myself and my career choice and how I carry myself. But it's time for me to go get a colonoscopy. So a lot of these things I'm learning about as I go along and as I get exposed to them. And I thought that as I was thinking about what to present this week, I thought that this would be something fun and interesting and informative to share with my audience. So, and Black men's, I intentionally centered it on Black men's health because, yeah, it's, you know, we're in this, not to make this political per se, but one of the issues is, at least for our demographic, is Black men's health. Is there enough emphasis on it? Is there enough concern about it? Are there enough research dollars going towards it? Black men's health. So I'm centering it here. I mean, anybody can develop colorectal cancer, obviously, but as I'll describe, there's a tremendous concern for us as a group for colorectal cancer. AB Media says, salute number one, and also it's important. Yes, it is. I was thinking leading up to this stream that, you know, we go week to week thinking about how we're going to pay the bills. You know, we think about politics, we think about sports, we think about ways of making more money, monetizing YouTube channels, selling books. But at the end of the day, if your personal health fails, and if you develop a chronic sickness, or if you die early, you know, that's when you kind of realize, okay, all of these things we're worrying about, money, gender wars, you know, well, who gets elected president? That's important, but all the things, you know, wearing the latest shoes, the latest fashion, updating your place so that it's up to people's approval, all the little things we worry about. You realize once you develop a chronic health condition, you know, all of those things get put in perspective. AB Media, I'm going to describe this hopefully in the most efficient, expeditious way that I can. Colorectal cancer, that is basically cancer in your large intestine. So think about your colon. I'm going to show a diagram of the gastrointestinal tract to open this up, but that's basically what that is. So whenever you guys see my streams start with my cancer cell, this is my go-to picture of a cancer cell. I've been using this picture ever since my first collaboration with Nicole Ali. Shout out to Nicole Ali. Whenever you guys see this picture, I'm probably going to discuss cancer. All right. And Nicole Ali knows a hell of a lot more about cancer than I do. Okay, let me share this over on uh, Big Discussions 76, my original channel, in case any of the guys over there want to come over and partake in this, or if someone else wants to share it. Much of my audience, much of my subscriber base are Black men, so this is highly relevant. And I was thinking leading up to this that I think one of the statistics or one of the trends you hear regarding us as Black men is that we don't go to the doctor enough. There's a huge mistrust of doctors and of the medical system in this country. And I think fear is a major reason that we as Black men as a group, we don't go en masse. The problem is that our bodies change over time. Our I could get into the specifics of how cellular pathways alter and break down over the years. That's being researched, and that's been researched. Gene expressions alter over the years. Shout out to the nameless protagonist. Your epigenetics, what's in your environment, those impact your human health, your diet. All of those things impact your human health. And that can change with each stage of your life, with every decade. So if you're not going to get checked regularly, there may be things happening inside of you that you don't know and that you are not privy to. I'm sure we can all think of, if I'm not talking about you, I'm sure you know relatives, Black men in particular, in your family who have not been to the doctor in years, who have not gotten their blood checked, have not gotten anything checked in years. I understand that there is a mistrust of doctors and medicine, but there's a danger to not getting yourself checked as well for things. All right, let me share this. And I'm thinking of one relative in particular, one relative who was very, very close to me on the family tree, but I won't say that person's name. You have to be careful when you're streaming and doing this of mentioning people's names, especially those in your familial circle, your friendship circle, maybe your significant other, coworkers. You have to be careful about mentioning people, because people will say, "Hey, were you talking about me? Don't be talking about me online." Okay, I'm doing this stream. And that happens. People watch your content and they say, "Are you talking about me? Don't be talking about me. Don't be telling my business. Don't be telling our business." All right, so let me switch this back. If you guys hear something in the background there, someone's car alarm is going off. This mic is really, really good about canceling out ambient noise and background noise. So hopefully you all don't hear that. All right, I will see you on the other side of the intro. Please keep letting me know what you think. AB Media, I think you're going to be holding down the fort in the chat until some of the other usual suspects come through. I'll see you on the other side of the intro. If anyone is watching this, you're under no pressure to do so. But if anyone is watching this and wants to make a donation to the channel, I'm going to drop my Cash App and PayPal in the chat if you feel so moved. You know what that probably is? That's probably sometimes in the DMV, people, they're very particular about parking, especially if you don't have a parking pass to live in a certain community. And sometimes the tow trucks come through and they take vehicles out. And when they take vehicles out, their alarm systems go off like that. All right. Okay, again, this is optional. I just appreciate the eyeballs. I'll see you on the other side of the intro.
So Anwar, I see you have the periodic tables on your chest.
Mm-hmm.
So what's that all about? Why are you walking around with a chemistry chart on your chest?
Well,
Yeah.
Cheryl, so this channel is a STEM channel. So when I was conceiving of it and figuring out how to grow it, I figured I should have some t-shirts to go with it. So
Okay.
the periodic table is critical to most of the scientific fields.
Welcome to Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. Science and technology are all around us, all of the time, and there are always science and technology stories to tell. There are always science and technology stories to tell. Hey guys, we're gonna talk about some human health today and colorectal cancer and colonoscopies and why you should care. But before we do, let's have some fun. So I thought I'd go smoke a stogie last night, but I decided to come back and rest. And I saw something on YouTube. This is a short. Science is broad. We're talking about human health today. A lot of you guys like to talk tech, but there's also zoology. Shout out to Dr. Thompson at Johnson C. Smith University, my HBCU. Shout out to Marcus Williams. You always acknowledge the University of Michigan in your content, but you never talk about Johnson C. Smith University. This is a minute, guys. We're just going to start off with some fun, then we'll jump in. This is a fun fact about cats and their reaction speeds. Okay. This is just a minute. I promise this will be short. I watched this a couple of times last night. Okay, this is not the one. Give me a second here. See? Okay, there it is. This will both astound you and make you laugh a little bit. Let me see if I can expand this for you guys. No, I'm not seeing the expand function here. So you just have to watch it like this. Let me look for it one more time. Let me turn the sound on. No, I don't see the expand option here. All right. A fun fact about cats and snakes.
Ranging from 0 to 70 milliliters. The reaction speed of cats is quite remarkable, ranging from 0 to 70 milliliters. No doubt about it. In the mammal world, this is the ceiling for combined attack and defense reaction speed. To understand their lightning-fast reactions, we can use snakes as a reference. The attack speed of snakes typically falls between 40 to 70 milliliters. In other words, snakes can launch an attack in as little as 0.04 to 0.07 seconds. Now cats, on the other hand, can assess risks and make evasive or even counterattack moves within this time frame. The reaction speed of...
Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that one more time. We'll do that one more time. You guys can look this up. This showed up on my feed last night. I love the beginning of this because it shows the cat jumping up in slow motion. All right, one more time. And someone else noticed in the comment section of this that the subtitle says milliliters, which is a unit for measuring volume, but the creator probably meant millimeters. All right, one more time, 1 minute.
The reaction speed of cats is quite remarkable, ranging from 0 to 70 milliliters. No doubt about it. In the mammal world, this is the ceiling for combined attack and defense reaction speed. To understand their lightning-fast reactions, we can use snakes as a reference. The attack speed of snakes typically falls between 40 to 70 milliliters. In other words, snakes can launch an attack in as little as 0.04 to 0.07 seconds. Now cats, on the other hand, can assess risks and make evasive or even counterattack moves within this time frame. The reaction.
All right, that was just a little, I might get into sharing fun science factoids when I do this, but I saw that last night. I thought that was interesting. Okay, so Black men, colonoscopies, and colorectal cancer. You guys keep letting me know what you think there in the chat as this goes on. I don't intend to talk for an entire hour. I say that all the time, but somehow I always end up doing that. All right, so this, I thought this would be a good way to start this off. Shout out to my mom. Hi, Mom, if you're watching this. Let's start off with some statistics. I did download a larger PDF, but I think this gets to the heart of the matter. If you do a quick Google search on colorectal cancer and Black men and colorectal cancer, you'll find this. And it says, somewhere here, generated by, found by generative AI or something like that. But according to this, the question is, what is the rate of colon cancer in Black men? Okay. According to the American Cancer Society, colorectal cancer incidence rates in the United States are highest among Black men with an incidence of 58.3 per 100,000 in non-Hispanic Black men, compared with an incidence of 46.9 per 100,000 among all men. Let me read that again. According to the American Cancer Society, colorectal cancer incidence rates in the United States are highest among Black men with an incidence of 58.3 per 100,000 in non-Hispanic Black men, compared with an incidence of 46.9 per 100,000 among all men. So that's a difference of about 20%, ballpark 20%, looking at that by eye. Okay, so colorectal cancer. I think everybody in the chat knows what cancer is. Cancer is the uncontrolled division of cells in our bodies. Okay, and that uncontrolled division of cells can lead to the formation of tumors, and those tumors can either be benign or they can be malignant. And if they're malignant, that means those cancer cells can spread to other parts of your body, and then you'll have tumors growing all over your body, which you don't want. But you also don't want a tumor of any kind in your body. So this is a depiction. This is on the thumbnail. This is a depiction of a tumor within your GI tract. I'm not sure if this is specific to the large intestine or if this is in the small intestine as well, but that's what I'm assuming this is an illustration, or it's an actual picture of a tumor inside your gastrointestinal tract. So I'm going to talk about why that's important shortly. I'm going to read some of your comments here first. Reynald Cherry, thank you for stopping through. Actually, Don Gordito says salute. AB Media has some questions about colorectal cancer. Don Gordito said, just share the stream. Oh, I appreciate that, Don Gordito. Very true. This is regarding, I think, Black men's fear of going to the doctor. And AB Media agrees about keeping people's names and likenesses out of your YouTube content if it's not necessary to do so. Okay. Reynald Cherry says, if you played with G.I. Joes or Nintendo 8-bit, it's time for a colonoscopy. That's true. So that would be for us Gen Xers. Tyler Jacobs says, I've done 2, one at 27 and another one at 34. And my next one is next year. Well, Tyler Jacobs, why, if you feel like disclosing it, why did you start doing those so young? Because my doctor said you're supposed to start doing them 45 and older. But that's, yeah, I think in the grand scheme of things, that's young to start having these analyses. I mean, they don't hurt, but why did you start young? Let's see. Tony says, do you think our diets are a contributing factor? You know what? I thought about that last night, and I'm going to show a diagram as to why this question is significant and why that matters. Tyler Jacobs says diet, stress, and a lack of exercise, but also genetics. Genetics do play a huge role. He says a family history of cancer. Okay. Reynold Cherry says, yep, 27 is pretty young actually for that. Tyler Jacobs says GI tract cancers. AB Media says, I got about 4 more years before I need to have one. Okay. Guys, I appreciate the participation here. Okay. So let's go back to Tony's question here. Do you think our diets are a contributing factor? And for the guys who don't have wrenches, I'm going to give you a wrench. Reynold Cherry, I appreciate your participation. So I'm going to add you as a moderator. And Tyler, I'm going to make you a mod as well. This is a small channel, but I want to show appreciation for those of you who come over here and listen to me talk about science. All right, so Tony's question. This is why this matters. All right, so this is maybe not the best picture of the human GI tract online, but some of these, well, this is the one I thought that would be most appropriate. So we as human beings, as members of the animal kingdom, we all have to ingest food. I've talked about glucose and cellular respiration on this channel, but we all have to ingest glucose to generate ATP, to live, to survive, to do this, to create content, to play basketball games, to work our jobs every day, to go to happy hour, whatever. We all have to ingest food. All right. And so for multicellular organisms like us, we have specialized organ systems to respire, to breathe, to get rid of wastes, but also to ingest food and to generate waste. So this is the human GI tract. All mammals have this. Dogs have GI tracts. Cats have GI tracts. Fish have GI tracts. If I'm not mistaken, birds, the squirrels running around outside, pretty much everything, every mammal, every multicellular organism has a GI tract. So stop that. All right. So you eat something. This is all biology 101. You guys know this. It goes down after the initial digestion takes place in your mouth with your saliva and the enzymes in your saliva. It travels down into your esophagus. From there, travels into your stomach, the foodstuffs, the substance, the things you just ate or drank. It goes into your stomach. It passes through the duodenum into your small intestine, which is these squiggly lines back here. There you see small intestine designating the convoluted tubes here. And then eventually what's not absorbed, the matter that is not absorbed, and I believe some of the water that's not absorbed, that passes into the rectum here, through the colon, and then into the large intestine. And this is where your fecal matter is formed and passes out of your body through your anus via the rectum. So that the end of that large intestine, That is your anus when you sit down on the toilet, you know, and that's when when dogs do what they do. It's amazing how all living things assume that position. I mean, we sit down on a toilet, but dogs, they biologically know how to hunch down, leave enough room to drop their load, and cats the same thing. All right, but that's the significance of Tony's question. Okay, we're ingesting food, our body is processing that food, and our body absorbs the sugars and the nutrients from that food, but wastes pass out. Aqueous wastes pass out through our urine, and then the solid matter passes out through our fecal matter. Okay, there's an S word for it that I'm not going to say, but it's a curse word, but I won't say it for the sake of this stream and keeping it PG. So one question is, if the food you're ingesting, if you're ingesting a lot of chemicals, shout out to my mom, if you're ingesting a lot of additives and preservatives, food colorings, nitrates, known carcinogens, is there a danger to ingesting that type of food into your biological system? What happens when those chemicals get into the lining of your small intestine and the lining of your large intestine or in your colon? We also know that, and there are whole courses on this as a graduate student and as medical students, there are whole courses on this, and we know that certain chemicals, when they get into your system, when you ingest them, those chemicals can be biotransformed into other things. So when you eat something, it may be harmless and innocuous and not biologically active, but once those chemicals get into your system, there are drug metabolizing enzymes, for example, and those chemicals may become biologically active and form carcinogens within your body. Okay, so it does matter. It does matter what you ingest and how much of it you ingest. So that's the significance of Tony's question here. Do you think our diets are a contributing factor? And if you think about it, a lot of processed foods, if you don't eat vegetables, so some things naturally move through your system and pass out really, really well. I'm thinking about leafy greens, roughage, fibrous foods, beans. Okay, those things, legumes, those things naturally pass out of your system really, really well. But what if you're eating a lot of fast food like McDonald's? And I like McDonald's. I want to go out and try that chicken Big Mac. That looks pretty good. There's a chicken Big Mac out there right now. But I like McDonald's. I like Popeyes. I like Burger King. I like, what's another one? Five Guys. I like all that stuff. Okay. I'm sure you guys do too. But after you eat McDonald's, after you eat enough McDonald's, what do you notice happens to at least my GI tract? That food tends to sit in there. It tends to sit still. So it doesn't move out of your system very well. So you have chemicals, food with chemicals going into your system, and it's sitting there. Well, the question is, what happens when it sits there? I noticed a couple of years ago, you guys keep letting me know what you think there in the chat. I'm going to read your comments. I noticed years ago, my dad got me this little mini grill, and I was grilling pretty much every Sunday because grilling is fun. Barbecuing is fun. Being a pit master is fun. But I noticed in the days after barbecuing and grilling, when I would eat all those barbecued hot dogs and that barbecued chicken and burgers or whatever, I noticed that I wasn't making movements as readily as I was when I would eat something else. That's a lot of protein, okay? But also my mother told me I slowed down on that because my mother told me, my mother's very health conscious. She says, you want to be careful about eating foods with lots of nitrates, and you want to be careful of eating lots of barbecue because that you're forming a lot of nitrates and other chemicals that may be dangerous if you consume too many of them. So I slowed down after that on the barbecuing, but barbecuing is fun. So it matters what goes in. Okay. Food affects your mood. Okay. But also you don't want to keep putting stuff in your body. You don't want to keep putting chemicals in your GI tract in particular that may damage it long term, ultimately. So what happens if we talked about what cancer cells are, okay? And I don't have much more to present after this, guys. We know what cancer cells are, but what's the long-term effect if you develop a cancer in your GI tract? Okay, the long and short of it is, if you develop a cancer in your GI tract, whether it's in your small intestine, your large intestine, your colon, or somewhere in there, you're going to die not long after that, unless they're able to remove it. But that system it's buried deep in your body. So you would have to have some very, very skilled surgeons to get that tumor or tumors out. And then you'll have to be lucky to survive that long term. And that's what, if I recall correctly, now that I think about it, that's what killed off Chadwick Boseman, the Black Panther. Wakanda Forever. Let's look that up really, really quickly. Let's see what killed Chadwick Boseman. Shout out to Chadwick Boseman, because he was dealing with that while he was playing T'Challa and the Black Panther. Chadwick Boseman death. Yep. Chadwick Boseman died. There's Chad. He died at 43 years old. All right. And he died of colon cancer. In a year marked by painful losses, movie fans have another reason to grieve. Chadwick Boseman, the star of the popular film Black Panther, died August 28th at 43 following a 4-year battle with colon cancer. Okay. So if you develop cancer in there, you don't have much longer to live. So that's your small intestine, let's pull the picture back up. Your stomach, and I believe there's even an esophageal cancer, but your esophagus, your stomach, your duodenum, your small intestine, your large intestine, your colon. If you develop cancer anywhere in there, yeah, you don't have much longer to live. And shout out to the late Dr. Joseph Vail Jr. from my alma mater, Johnson C. Smith University. We were very close. And I think he died in his 60s or his 50s. He developed pancreatic cancer. Okay, so even if you develop pancreatic cancer, you probably don't have much longer to live unless somehow miraculously they can treat it and you can survive. Does anybody know? I'm going to read your comments before I transition to the ending of this. Does anybody know why pancreatic cancer is so dangerous? Anybody? And that the pancreas technically is a part of your GI tract as well, but it wasn't listed on that diagram. Does anybody know why pancreatic cancer is so dangerous? Let's see what my scientists here in the chat think. Pancreatic cancer. Why is that dangerous? Pancreatic cancer. And I guess in asking that question, I'm asking what the pancreas does. Why is that significant? Pancreatic cancer. I'll wait a few more seconds. I don't think I have a picture of the pancreas in my records, but let's just look and see really, really quickly. Okay, Paul Ehrlich, partial, let's see. No, I don't have a picture here, but let's do a quick, we have Google. Thank God for Google. Pancreas. See if we could blow that up. All right. So the pancreas. Okay. The problem is I don't have a nice big picture to show you guys, but we'll just make do with what we have. So the pancreas is a small little organ, and it is located. It's located just under the stomach, in between. It looks like in between the stomach and the liver. Okay. Let me read some of your answers here. Let me see what my scientists have to say here. So the pancreas, AB Media says, yeah, I had an uncle who passed away from pancreatic cancer. Reynald Cherry says, I forgot what the pancreas regulates. Tyler Jacobs, I don't know if this is true. The liver generates the bile. I don't think the pancreas is involved with regulating the bile. It doesn't produce bile. Tony, yep, the pancreas regulates digestion. Tyler Jacobs, that's exactly right. It regulates insulin. That's right. And it regulates blood sugar. So yeah, Reynald Cherry says, and he says, I had to use Google as well. Yep, we all use Google. But as members of the animal kingdom, I am just about done here. I'm going to talk about colonoscopies immediately after this. Our bodies are made up of billions and billions of animal cells. Our bodies are made up of billions and billions of animal cells, specializing, and they're all specialized. Okay. And what happens is when you start to digest something, okay, and once that pancreas senses sugar in circulation, the pancreas starts to generate insulin, and the insulin drops into your bloodstream and disperses to the billions and billions of cells in your body. Okay. And what that insulin does is it binds insulin receptors on those animal cells, and it opens up glucose channels on those cells, so the glucose can go into the cells, and the cells can start to metabolize that glucose and eat and generate ATP for all of the cellular functions within the cells. That's called endocrine signaling. So when tissue is creating a hormone or a signaling molecule, and that signaling molecule is going and affecting another cell or tissue type in the body. Okay, so if your pancreas develops cancer, okay, and you can't generate that insulin, then your cells don't have a way to feed. The sugar will be circulating around your blood, but your cells won't be able to ingest it. Okay, so if anything happens in your GI tract, you don't have much longer to live. Okay, colonoscopies. Reynald Cherry could probably talk to us. Is it Reynald Cherry? No, Tyler. Tyler could probably talk to us about what this is. Colonoscopies, what they're doing. So let's break the word up. So colon, it's your colon, and scope. Colon, scope. So they're scoping your large intestine in your colon. So I have a picture here, guys. So it's not a Tyler's probably laughing at this, but it's not a pleasant thought in terms of what they're actually doing, but it's a necessary thing, and this is what it is. So they are, sorry, that's your GI tract. Essentially, there is your large intestine, there's your colon, and they are essentially putting a scope into your anus, and it's snaking all the way through your large intestine, and they're looking for polyps. Okay, so polyps, what those do is those can give rise to tumors. So they're trying to catch the tumors early, or they're trying to catch any potential tumors early, because the key with cancer is if you catch it early, you have a better chance of defeating it as opposed to trying to treat it later. So if you can catch the polyps early, you have a good chance of preventing any formation of tumors. And that's essentially what that is. So I will show it again. This is a colonoscopy. Okay, so they bring you in, they put you to sleep, you go to sleep, and you roll over, and then they scope your large intestine. Okay. And yeah, the thought of something going up your rear end is a little unsettling. I'll just say that word, unsettling. Okay. But it's not that simple, because there's prep work that you as the patient have to do before going to get your large intestine scoped. Let's see. Tyler says, sure. They insert a small camera up your anus into your large intestines. Tyler says, laugh my ass off. Laughing indeed. Tyler says, yep, if they find polyps, they do a biopsy. Some polyps are benign and they just remove them. Tyler says the prep can be tedious, doctor. Yes. Okay. So, and he says, I had 2 polyps, and because of that, I had to have the procedure done every 5 years instead of 10. Yeah. So my primary care physician, he said, oh yeah, you get one done now, you won't have to get one done for another 10 years. But thank you for sharing that, Reynald Cherry. I guess if they find the polyps, then a determination is made for you being at risk. So maybe you have to have them done more frequently. And Tyler says the prep, LOL. Yep. Okay. So thank you, Tyler. Let's talk about that. So part of the prep is you have to basically get a laxative treatment. For those of you who don't know, laxatives make you use the restroom. Okay. Particularly the number 2. Okay. So your doctor will they will prescribe a laxative treatment. So the one they prescribed for me is something called Plenview. And my insurance didn't cover it, so I had to pay something out of pocket. But I have insurance, so that's the blessing. So this, it's something that you have some packets here. Okay, and these dissolve. You dissolve them in this jar. Tyler, let me know if any of this looks familiar. So you dissolve it in this jar, And you have to take this twice within 24 hours of going to get scoped. Okay, the active ingredients in here, I'm a pharmacologist, so we care, a pharmacologist / toxicologist. So we care about what the active ingredients are. So this consists of polyethylene glycol, 3,350, sodium ascorbate, sodium sulfate, ascorbic acid, sodium chloride, salt, and potassium chloride for oral solution. So two salt components, and then these other ones. I'll read these again. Polyethylene glycol, 3350, sodium ascorbate, sodium sulfate, ascorbic acid, and then sodium chloride and potassium chloride. Okay, so you have to take this 2 doses within 24 hours of going to get the procedure done. But there's more. So yeah, so you have laxatives that flush out your large intestine, and then depending upon what kind of medical condition you have, this is not related. There are diuretics that flush out your that make you do number one, that make you urinate. And I think people who have cardiovascular disease, or for whatever reason, if they're retaining fluid, they take diuretics. But this is for flushing out your rear end. Okay, Tyler says the first time they gave me the gallon one, a powder mixed in the water and was stuck to the toilet for a couple of hours. Tyler says the second time they gave me a magnesium citrate and some laxative pills, then told me to drink a glass of water every couple of minutes. He says my colon was clean, LOL, no mud, but for months. Yeah, so the reason they're doing this, again, everyone, is because they're sticking a scope in your rear end, and they want a nice clean picture. They want to get a nice clean look at what's happening in there. And obviously they can't do that if there's fecal matter in there. So that's the why. Okay, so Tyler, please continue participating and confirm this next part. So there are also dietary considerations leading up to the procedure that you have to start days in advance of doing this. So this is even before you take the laxative treatment. So yeah. So they sent me this. So 4 days before the colonoscopy, change your diet to avoid high fiber foods. Please do not eat leafy green vegetables, celery, asparagus, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, corn, nuts, beans, and crunchy seeds. These foods frequently leave a large amount of residue in the colon and can decrease the effectiveness of the colonoscopy. Permitted foods include meats, fruits, white bread, pasta, rice, eggs, and potatoes. So that's problematic for me because leafy greens are a part of my regular diet, as are nuts, as are Brussels sprouts at times corn, at times beans. So it's important to read these instructions ahead of time so you have a game plan before this whole thing starts. Let's see. So 4 days before the procedure, start taking. Okay, so I'm not using the Miralax, so I guess I can jump over this part. So the day before, drink only clear liquids for 24 hours prior to your colonoscopy. No solid foods allowed. Okay, so clear liquids include water, clear sodas, so Sprite, 7-Up, Mountain Dew, ginger ale, apple juice, white grape juice, light colored sports drinks, no reds, purples, or other dark colors. So you can drink lemonade, Crystal Light, soup broth, and yellow Jello please drink at least 8-ounce glasses of clear liquids on this day. And then you start your liquid diet. So for me, my procedure is the next day at 11:05. So I have to start that liquid diet at 11:05. So it looks like I can eat something up until 11:05 a.m. And then it's this strict clear liquid diet. And then so then starting 3 to 6 p.m. on the afternoon before the colonoscopy, empty 1 pouch of the Plenview and then start consuming it. I'm paraphrasing. And then early in the morning, 6 hours before the procedure, I have to do the second one. And then 4 hours prior to the procedure, no liquids. Okay. So I'm showing this to say that there's a lot of prep work that goes into this fun procedure. Tyler, you have a question here. I'm sure you've seen it. Were you sedated? The answer is yes, they do sedate you. You know, and you're always well, I've had 2 major surgeries in my lifetime. So sedation, in a way, it's scary, but it's also fun because they put you under and you wake up hours later, you're a little groggy, but it's like nothing ever happened. So it's scary, but it's kind of fun in the same way. I had my knee done and I also had a hip replacement. So I've been out for hours at a time, but that's why your medical professionals, particularly your anesthesiologists, their game has to be tight. Their anesthesiology game has to be tight because you want to be sufficiently put down, but you don't want them to kill you either. Because if they give you too much and they're not monitoring you, you could expire right there while the procedure is being done to you. That's happened to quite a few people going for things like even dental surgeries. So your anesthesiologists, they have to be at the top of their game. But you do have to be anesthetized during this whole thing. So Mahogany Roots, are you from the Sheed We Hear tribe? I think you're from the Sheed We Hear tribe. Thank you for stopping through. She says, hi, Don. Hi, Don shared your video. Good morning. Thank you. Great topic. She says, just wanted to say hello. Thank you for stopping through. Good morning. Hey, and I know I centered this on Black males. Shout out to Dr. Tiasan Johnson. That's where I got the word centered from. He uses that word a lot. But apparently, Black women have a high, a considerable incidence of colorectal cancer as well. And that goes back to Tony's question about the foods we eat and consume. Do those have a role in this? So the fact that we as Black people have a high incidence of this, that suggests that there's either something genetic about us in this modern Western society, or there is something about the food that we eat and consume, or maybe our fear of going to see doctors and our fear of modern medicine. And as I described, I know at least for some Black men, there is a fear of going to the doctor. All right, I'm gonna close with one other thing here. You all keep commenting. I'm gonna close, and I probably should have done this at the beginning, but I'm gonna close with the symptoms or the concerns for colorectal cancer. So for me, so Tyler said that he has a family history of this, so that's why he got started doing this early. For me, my doctor said, okay, well, you're at that age where you need to have this done, but what are causes for concern for colorectal cancer? I'll look that up. I was looking at this last night. Colorectal cancer. symptoms. And everyone, don't turn into hypochondriacs. Sometimes you read things. I know I read things, and all of a sudden after I read something, I start feeling things, and I'm like, oh my God, do I have this? Do I have that? Like George Costanza on Seinfeld. If you've never watched Seinfeld, if you've never watched Seinfeld, George was very neurotic and a bit of a hypochondriac. Lupus. Is it lupus? Do I have lupus? What's that white dot on my face? All right. Colorectal cancer concerns, symptoms. Colorectal cancer, also known as colon or rectal cancer, can have many symptoms, including this is an AI overview. Shout out to artificial intelligence. We're all using more and more of it every day. Okay, so bowel changes, diarrhea, constipation, or a change in stool shape or consistency, blood, bright red or dark blood in the stool. I had a relative a couple of years ago who kept saying, who noticed he was seeing blood in his stool, so he was concerned about having this. So that's a concern. Abdominal pain, persistent pain, cramps, or aches in the lower abdomen. Weight loss, unexplained weight loss. Other symptoms, bloating, gas pains, feeling full, fatigue, weakness, or anemia. Lumps, a lump in the abdomen or back passage, usually on the right side. And then finally, straining, feeling the need to strain during a bowel movement, even after going. Okay, symptoms may not always occur, especially at first. Many cases of colorectal cancer have no symptoms. Colorectal cancer is easier to treat if found early through screening. It's best to talk to a healthcare provider if you have any of these symptoms. Okay, so this is an overview. There are other specialized videos on this. There are whole classes on this. I'm sure specialists could spend hours and hours and hours talking about this, but this is something I'm experiencing right now. Hopefully not the colorectal cancer, but the scope to see if there's anything in my GI tract. Tyler has had this done. It looks like Reynold has had this done. So I thought this would be an interesting and a novel topic to present here on my channel on this Saturday morning. And that concludes what I have to say about this. So I'm going to read some of your comments, and I'll open it if someone wants to come and say something for another 10 or 15 minutes. But Tony, I think your question this morning may have been the most important, because that's something we can all control. We can control what goes into our bodies, okay? And we can control how much of it goes into our bodies. We as human beings, we are habit-forming creatures. So usually when we find something we like that's enjoyable, we stick with it. And I think one of the things we saw during the global health crisis is a lot of people aren't cooking anymore. A lot of people aren't preparing their own food anymore. And we are in an eating out fast food culture. Mm-hmm. And there may be some ramifications for that. AB Media, good morning. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on? Had an uncle who passed from pancreatic cancer. And
okay.
And like you said, it messes with your digestive tract. And I can remember him having a hard time keeping stuff down. On top of the fact, he had never been diabetic before, but he had to start taking insulin. And it just got to a point, it wore him down, and he passed away from it. And I'll be honest, it took me a day to even comprehend that he was gone. Because because once my father passed, he had always been there. So it took me a day to even process that he's gone. He's not coming back. In fact, I called his number. His daughter announced it, but it still didn't register that he was gone. But yeah, it was pancreatic cancer.
So you all were very close, it sounds like.
Yeah. I don't know where he's at right now, but you familiar with Snowman Multimedia?
Yes. Yes.
He's believe it or not survived pancreatic cancer amazingly.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
He went to IU. We live in the same state, Indiana. IU University, and they had to take some stuff out because there was a lot. Because as you can imagine, there was a lot of tumors and stuff. He had some organs removed, but he survived it.
Okay. Okay. So Snowman is one of the fortunate few.
Yeah, and you have to understand, him and his wife were living in North Carolina, and when he went to Duke University, they told his wife, get your preparations in order because he's gonna die. And his wife wasn't to his wife, to Jody's credit, she wasn't having it. She I guess she got in contact with people, some folks in IU, and they saved his life.
Okay. And I can imagine after getting that prognosis from the doctor, maybe hearing that, some people just shutting down and saying,
Yeah.
you know what, that's it. So Snowman was fortunate to have someone there to mentally encourage him to keep going.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I want to thank let me make sure I have this right. I just scroll past it. Give me a second, everybody. I want to thank, and we've been joined by Tyler. Come on, I want to get this right. Some things are staring at you in plain sight.
And you still can't pronounce it, huh?
No, I just Reynald Cherry, thank you for the generous PayPal donation. Just want to get it right. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, as a a Cash App gives you that nice green symbol. You could see what the PayPal symbol is. It's gold, and you can easily miss it. We've been joined by Tyler. Tyler, thank you for your participation and your willingness to share it there in the chat. What say you?
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
You can hear me fine.
Oh, all right. So thank you so much for this discussion and topic. It is like my first time. I watch all you guys all the time, so I just want to say, thank you for your all your contributions. You too, AB Media. Like I watch all of you guys. So with this, so I'm a little bit flustered. It's my first time on.
All right, relax, man. We're all friends here.
Relax, man. It's all good.
It's a safe space, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
But we mean it. It's a safe space.
Yeah. So my experience with cancer. So pretty much my family's almost typical like everyone else. Diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, and a lot of it, surprisingly, a lot of it's stress and a lot of it's diet because my mom passed away from it, and her diet was clean. She didn't eat meat. She didn't eat red meat at all, like at all. But one thing I did notice is that she did eat a lot of and this is not to scare anyone, but this is just to add what was being said in the chat about preservatives and additives being added into the food. She, even though she would have the oatmeal, she would have it with the flavoring in it. And she would, it was just like certain things, but also we're genetically predisposed to it because my mom got tested positive for Lynch syndrome. I'm set to do the genetic testing next March of next year because it's like I guess it's a long waiting list where I'm from. So the youngest relative was my aunt, and she was 44. And yeah, and then my doctor, she just happened to be a very progressive doctor. You know, she talked about taking fish oil because I think that was her study. And so I told her about my history, and she said she gave me a referral for a GI doc. When I got there, and this just goes to show you, because I'm a black guy, so I'll just let you know I'm black, even though my avatar looks like Shia LaBeouf. But even when you get to the you know, you have to like continuously advocate and push for yourself all the time. You know,
Mm-hmm.
even like you know, it's 27. What are you doing getting this? And then when you tell them the history, they're like, oh, okay, now we see. Another person that passed away, and up to now I have to ask my family, but my grandmother passed away too from cancer. But I don't know if it was stomach or pancreatic, because she actually had to get, I think, half her stomach, part of her small intestine, and something else they had to remove because it got into the point where she was losing weight and she started getting jaundice in the eyes before she even went to the doctor.
Yeah, my uncle
So
lost a lot of weight. He was a muscular
yeah,
dude. He lost a lot of weight. Sound like pancreatic cancer because sound like it's attacking multiple areas of the dietary tract.
Yeah,
yeah,
jaundice, that's related. That's liver related. So yeah,
Oh, really?
there were multiple
Okay.
things going on there. Yeah.
yeah. And like
Okay.
like like my mom, she barely used salt because she was predisposed to high blood pressure. So she did use salt. She did not eat meat whatsoever. Always vegetables, always stews, you know. So um I say that to say, like, you could do everything right, but that just goes to show is like, I don't know how much proactive would we need to be to really get to the bottom of this, is I guess a question.
Well, I think diet again, that's something we have control over. We control
Mm-hmm.
what goes in. And yeah, shout out to my mom. I remember my mother when I was younger. She was always very um, knowledgeable and cognizant of feeding us food with additives and preservatives. I didn't understand at a young age what that meant and why was she was so fixated on additives and preservatives. But
Mm.
and I think yeah, we certainly as Black people we have uh, a history of eating certain kinds of foods. I mean, we're most known for
Right.
soul food, and high sugar food, and putting sugar in your grits and drinking Kool-Aid and nice big Sunday fried chicken dinners and
Mm-hmm. I.
barbecues. I'll tell another funny story, and I want to keep this anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
But someone who fancies themselves a barbecue pitmaster.
Mm-hmm.
I was at this person's house, and I remember one morning he just had a big old barbecue thing the previous day, and I was downstairs. There was only us in the house, and this person was having a hard time. I'll just say they were having a hard time making a movement, and I could hear a lot of grunting and a lot of just a
Mm-hmm.
lot of grunting and a lot of effort being put into making a movement. I'll never forget that. But I thought about it, and I said, okay, well, yeah, those times when I went really hard with the grill, I had a hard time making a movement afterwards. So the
Oh, yeah,
food you
barbecue
put
gonna
in,
be
the food you put in, it makes a big difference. So maybe the other take home is eat fibrous vegetables with your barbecue as well. Go ahead.
I tell this joke all the time. I can make my late grandmother's sweet potato pie, but I care about my health, and I'm just being honest about it. One day, I was living with her for a little while. I smelled something burning, and she had burned the sweet potatoes. Like I was like, okay, and it was this is Thanksgiving time, so like Okay, I see where this is going. Show me what I need to do, and she showed me how to make the sweet potato pie. And she put a lot of sugar in that mother sucker. Let's just put it that way. She put a lot of sugar. She's like, keep pouring. I was like, really? Keep pouring? No, nope. Keep pouring. Keep pouring. I measured it was probably about a cup and a half. If you had to measure it,
Wow.
it's a lot of sugar. And this is making like 3 or 4 pies.
Wow. Well,
Well,
But on the other hand, when I got to the Thanksgiving dinner, I was like, I told everybody, "You're welcome."
well, hey, Tyler, let me jump in. I was going to say, well, there's a reason our food is so distinct in terms of
Hmm.
its flavor and in terms of how of its flavor and why
Yeah.
there's a reason our food is so distinct because we use lots of traditionally lots of sugar, lots of salt.
Hmm.
What do we fry our foods in? A lard or something like that, or
Hmm.
pork pork fat or something like that. So there's a reason why. Anyway, go ahead, Tyler.
no, I was also gonna say, and it's not to like
Hmm.
the other thing. I would like. I don't know. Should we continue on the topic of food, or can I just? I don't want to do I add on to what. Sorry, I don't. I didn't mean to discontinue. What I was gonna
Go
say
ahead.
is that
Go ahead.
it's not to scare anyone because I mean everyone enjoys this food, but to constantly eat it and put your body in a state of distress to always digest it is I think also what puts a hamper on our bodies because it's it's not bad to eat one slice of sweet potato pie, but if you're having it every day or you're having it on a consistent basis, all of that compounds.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone should really be scared of taking the test, even if you don't change your diet and you still take the colonoscopy. The stigma behind it, you know, it did run through. I fear more of the prostate exam that I'll probably end up having to take soon than I do with the colonoscopy. And I think it's only because they knocked me out.
Hmm.
but I really think the stigma we should really move past the stigma because um it's not it's yeah, you know. But with
I'm
the
not,
mash with sorry, go ahead.
no, go finish your step. Finish your thought.
But what I was trying to say is like, I still say enjoy what we like to enjoy, but the
Moderation. Yeah.
consistency, like yeah, moderation, like it just has to be, you know.
Well, another
Well,
reason we season our food is because you have to remember they gave us the scraps back during slavery
That's
times.
true. Yeah,
So
yeah,
we had a I said it's in our genes. We found creative ways to make it work.
that's true. The oxtails,
Yes,
all of that stuff.
lobster.
Yeah,
Believe it or not, lobster was not always considered a delicacy. Lobster was
that's
they thought it was they thought they it was originally food they fed the black people, but we turned
wow,
it into a delicacy. So
yeah, that's true.
wow.
Black people and prisoners.
Hey, Tyler, this is an interesting comment here because this is something else my mother flagged. Shout out to my mother. The bacon, bologna, salami, so cured meats. So apparently you have
Yeah,
to be careful of cured meats because there are a lot of salts in there, but also a lot of nitrates and preservatives.
hmm
and the only thing I'll say about that is you have that type of preservation, but then you also have I don't know if the natural one where you cut thin slices and you do put it over I forgot how it's done. It's like bushcraft stuff where they do it more natural. I don't know if that's still part of the processed meat as well, just to give people like an alternative if you don't want the bacon or bologna or salami.
hmm
But I see those guys do it. They'll drape it over a fire and put a particular type of brush over it so it doesn't catch a fire, and it'll jerky the meat. But I still don't know if that's more healthier or if that's just the same because it's smoke, you know. But the salami, bologna, and bacon. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to read through some of the comments here, guys. Then we'll wrap up in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
So I can go get some exercise. Let's see. I'll start here with you, Tyler. Well, I'll start here with Tony because Tony, I think Tony asked one of the most important questions today. You get constipated. I think this is after eating bacon, bologna, salami. I love breakfast food. He says if you eat at fast food, Tyler says I used to get constipated. Now it runs through me, especially Popeyes and Shake Shack. Okay, I haven't done a lot of Shake Shack, but that's that food. When I've had it, it's good. It's fried.
Yeah.
It's salty. It's sweet. He said I stopped after a while. Not worth the discomfort, but I still like Thai food or Mexican. Yep, Thai food.
And that doesn't hurt my stomach at all.
Okay. Let's see. I found out he found out in his 30s.
That was reference to Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman. And pancreatic cancer as well. No known test that is hidden behind your small intestines. AB Media says, yeah, I had an uncle pass away from pancreatic cancer. Okay, we're talking about the pancreas here. I'm going to skip down. Okay. Tyler says, yep, if they find polyps, they do a biopsy. Some polyps are benign, and they just remove them. So that's the whole early detection thing. The prep can be tedious. I'm going to skip down. I think I already read that. Interesting that they don't want liquids with colors. Do you know what that's for, Tyler? Why that's a concern?
I think it stains the inside of your intestines, so they can't really see when they put the
Okay.
camera in. Yeah, because remember, I think a red 40 in Europe, and I think the red and blue coloring is actually banned in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
think red 40 and blue something. So it stains your insides.
Okay.
Okay. Mahogany Roots and MJ says, hi, Don, shared your video. Good morning. She's from the Sheed We Hear group. Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. Tyler, you said an alcohol is a secret killer. You want to expound upon that?
My doctor told me that it's the inflammation that the alcohol does inside your body, because it dries you out, but it also your stomach and intestines, they said, sometimes become inflamed if you drink too much.
Okay.
That's what I was told.
I was never a big alcohol drinker, so.
Okay, Mahogany says the numbers are getting higher. I think she's talking about the overall cancer incidence in the Black community. Tony says facts. She says exactly. Tyler said, people, if you ain't pooping at least twice a day, be concerned. Okay. Tony says our fear of going to the doctor is called iatrophobia. Iatrophobia. I'm reading about it in a book called Medical Apartheid by Harriet Washington. I didn't know that.
Real quick, I want to comment on that. Because I know this is a big touchy subject with brothers. It depends on the brother. If you know this brother doesn't have insurance, talk to him about getting insurance first. Then talk to him about going to the doctor. Because when you go to the doctor and you ain't got that insurance, that's another bill. And I don't think a lot of people take that into consideration when they be running their mouth about, you need to go to the doctor. You need to go to the doctor. I was like, no, take a step back. Talk to him about getting some insurance first, then go to the doctor.
In addition to what AB Media is saying, is that you also have, depending on where you work or depending on what's near you, that you have to take advantage of when you enter in, like maybe credit unions or through your job. You can get, I think one through my credit union, I think I get terminal ill insurance. So I'm covered up to, like, I think 100,000 in medical treatment if my primary insurance can't cover these treatments, because that's the other thing people don't forget.
Know that. Okay.
People don't. It's a lot of people are in medical debt because this is, You find out too late, you're
Mhm.
doing the treatment, and the treatment, by the time you see the bill, it's nearly $500,000. You know, that almost happened to my mom, but she had the terminal illness insurance where it covered up to I think 300,000. So when she passed, it wasn't like, people get into these situations. You actually have to co-sign for treatments if you don't
Yes.
have insurance, or and then the person you co-sign with, now they have to pay the balance if the person passes away. So these are also things like AB. I agree completely with AB me saying so. Sorry, go ahead.
If you've never seen a 20,000, because fortunately I've never had one over 100,000, but I have had a $20,000 bill. I was like, okay, I'm not just gonna let anybody talk to me about this anymore, because like it's serious. You see that $20,000 bill? I was like, I don't have that kind of money. I don't know where they're gonna get it from, but I get paid off. It got it forgiven and paid off eventually once I got medical insurance and stuff. But this is something people need to think about when they're talking to brothers about their health.
And I'm not an insurance salesman either, but
No, neither
the
am I.
earlier you get in, the better, because you won't have any commodity. I forgot how you call it. You won't have any issues that will make you have to pay higher in um monthly payments and stuff like all of this. What I'm trying to say is that through my experiences with familiar deaths due to cancer and other ailments, thankfully we've never had to do like GoFundMe's, or
Right.
we've never had to have people co-sign on things. So that's the hidden debts that we don't talk about outside of the illnesses that we're discussing.
Are
Yes.
you talking about pre-existing conditions?
Yes,
Come on, yeah.
yes. Sorry, yeah. If you like, the earlier you get in when you don't have pre-existing conditions, the better. You don't have to pay high. But like, I'm saying all this because you just never, ever know.
Right.
And these things, that's how families break up. You ask them for help, they can. Or sorry, go ahead.
No, this is important.
Yeah, especially as black men, like we got the
Yeah. All of these
father.
things are interrelated. And I was thinking about how over on my original channel, I did I think AB was there. I did a quasi election 2024 stream on demographics and voting patterns, and Steve Ballmer. One of the things he showed in that video was the increase in the number of people who earned a college degree. So at some point,
Hmm.
they gutted our industries, and now the emphasis is on college degrees. But if you're a part of that group that's not college educated and you can't partake in an industrial field, and you don't have anything, you also
Hmm.
don't have insurance, right? You're also not covered. So you're probably more likely to not go to the doctor, or even, because as you guys described, there is a yeah, if you're covered, next time you go to the doctor or get a procedure done, take a look at the bill and see what your insurance is covering, and you'll be surprised at all the zeros.
Oh yes, all the zeros,
And
all the
you have
zeros.
you have a small
God.
copay. Yeah, you have a
Right.
copay and you're done. But the person who doesn't have that insurance, they're responsible for all those zeros, and those zeros add up. Yeah. Let me sprint through these comments, then let's wrap up. So Tony said, our fear of going to the doctor is called iatrophobia. I'm reading a book about it. I'm reading about it in a book called Medical Apartheid by Harriet Washington. And then Tyler says, I agree, Tony, but seeing my family die, being a caretaker for one, is traumatic. I imagine so. Tony says, I don't blame you, Tyler. I see a lot of my family die from high blood pressure and diabetes, so I try to maintain an exercise regimen and eat
Yes.
the best I can. Tyler says, got me proactive. And then Tony says, yeah, health insurance is important. Okay. You guys have anything else to say? Thank you for coming up.
Thank you. Thank you. This is my first time. Thank you for being gracious.
Hmm. Thanks for having me up. If there are any brothers out there who don't have health insurance, I suggest you invest in it and then check on your health, man. And it's not fun for anybody. Nobody likes to do it, but it's something we have to do.
Yeah, and I did talk with Dr. Tiasan Johnson about his 18-point black male political agenda. I know there was some language in there about healthcare and black men's health, but we're kind of at the end of this cycle, so that's just something to keep in mind. I mean, we see a breast cancer month, we see all kinds of things and I'm not saying it's bad to have a breast cancer month for women, but you also have to advocate for yourself as well. So if you're not out, if you don't know what the problems are, if you don't know that you should advocate for yourself, to have dollars come to research your particular health challenges, or that there is even an increased risk or an increased incidence of colorectal cancer in black men, then no one's going to throw dollars towards it. So it's just something to be aware of. AB, anything else?
No, thanks for having me up. I'm about to do some exercise myself. So
Okay, you have a Coliseum tonight?
yes, I
All
haven't
right.
set it up yet, but yes.
Okay, well, I'll be on the lookout for that.
All right.
All right, take care. All right, everyone, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for watching. Thank you to those of you who came and stopped through and gave your eyeballs for at least a little while, even if you didn't stay for the entire thing. Please like, share, and subscribe, and share this out, especially if there's someone in your family or your circle who could benefit from this. Please share this out. This one dealt, I know the tech is very, very popular. This one dealt with human health and medicine. The Department of Pharmacology, that was my department at the University of Michigan, they did not endorse this. This is me doing this. And it is a Michigan football Saturday. Michigan plays tonight. I don't know how we're going to do, but I'm saying that to say that the department, I wore this shirt in the spirit of human health and medicine, but the department is not co-signing this stream. So please consider sharing this out. Thank you to Reynald for that generous donation. If anyone is watching this on the playback and wants to donate something, my Cash App and PayPal are below in the description box. And if you can, everybody stay on top of your health. Try to catch things early. Our bodies change over the years. Yeah, you can eat things. You can oftentimes eat as much as you want in your 20s, in your teens, in your 20s. Your body's growing at that point. Your body is maturing at that point. But once you hit 25 and beyond, you enter a different life stage. And then as you go into your 30s and your 40s and your 50s, things slow down, metabolic pathways change, and the exercise you get and the food you put in, that makes a big difference in how you feel. It makes a big difference in how you look, and it makes a big difference in your quality of life. And I know spiritually, we're often taught that we have a set expiration date the day we're born. God has a set expiration date the day we're born. But I as I'm thinking about this, I remember one of our next door neighbors, my mother going back and forth with a next door neighbor about living healthy and eating healthy, and then him saying, well, I'm going to die eventually anyway, and there's a set day when I'm going to die anyway, so I'm going to do what I'm going to do up until that point. So, but I do believe that however long you're here, your lifestyle matters. What you eat, how much you eat, how much alcohol you consume, the quality of food you eat, the amount of exercise you get, the way you take care of yourself, that will impact your quality of life for the time that you are here. Anyhow, that's it. So yeah, the link to my newsletter and my book project are in the description box below. And enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Again, please share this out. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you all the next time. Bye-bye.